Hello and welcome this morning. This is the In Christ Co-Resurrection Participation Session. For this class, you're going to want to go ahead and get a journal and a pen and a comfortable place where you can sit uninterrupted for about the next 30 to 45 minutes. And as you gather your materials, you'll be preparing yourself to sit with our living Jesus Christ and be led through how to first recognize that we are tangibly held by the mystery of our living Christ and held in a way that we are actually built to receive God's living love, living power, and consciousness into our bodies to restore us and renew us. But that this is a very conscious and an experience of participation with God. And from that place of being able to receive this intimate living support, we're then taught by Jesus to listen to what does that quality of support feel like to you. There is going to be a specific type of support that you're going to be provided, and that support is going to be perfectly matched and already forgiven to you so that you can face these circumstances that are present for you today in your life. It's already forgiven. So in the beginning of class, it's amazing because we take this time to actually sit down and listen and connect to what God is providing. And then later in the class, as we begin to walk through our individual challenges, you're going to see how it completely supports and completely is the most perfect and loving support you could imagine for the actual challenge that you are facing. Jesus invites us then to be looking a little more deeply at that challenge, to notice how it comes alive in our full embodied experience. And he walks us through 7 qualities of experience that happen within our body and within our mind and within our behavior. And that allows us to become fully aware of how we are unconsciously responding to what is present. And then in that place, we then bring ourselves home to Christ and say, here's how I'm doing it. Please show me how to walk with you in Christ. Show me how to allow my course to be corrected, allow my vision, my heart, my body, my behavior, my speech to be more aligned to this living and loving support that you are already providing me so that I can be a vessel of providing that out into the world. So welcome. This is an amazing and a powerful practice, and this is called the participation practice or the participating with Christ series. So welcome this morning. I'm going to go ahead and give you a few more moments to get situated, and then we will begin our time together with our living Christ. So we begin our time together in the same way that Jesus invites us to begin all of our moments of conscious awareness, and that is to first pause and take a moment to recognize how you are connected to and supported by the place where you are seated. Go ahead and take a moment to notice how your body is held by your seat. Let's go ahead and do that together now. And as you are noticing how you are held by the place where you are seated, Jesus invites you to recognize which part of your body feels the most held by your seat. And as you notice that, we're going to go ahead and write down that body part into our journal. So think about this as there's going to be one area of your body that is the most supported by the place where you are seated. Think about that as how you're plugging into God. There's always going to be one area, no matter if you're seated or standing or laying down, that is the most settled. And through that capacity in your nervous system of being settled, that part of your body is the most connected to God, the most able to be carried by God, and the most able to sense and receive God's living presence. And so take a moment as you're looking at that body part and you're going to circle it because you're saying, here is where I am already the most able to be supported. This is the part of my body and my nervous system, and think of it like a plug. Is the closest to the outlet, it's plugged in the most to that outlet. This is where I am most able to be recharged in my day. So circle that body part that you feel in this moment is the most able to be supported. And then you're going to take a moment and bring your mind's awareness back to that. We're saying, here's where I am already supported. You're going to let your brain see it, and you're going to offer about a minute to allow yourself to receive it. How does your body receive that living support? Go ahead and take a moment to feel that and let yourself receive it. Where does your body feel the most supported in the place where you're either seated or standing or laying down? Let's take a moment to notice that. And as your brain is able to recognize that, and then we are offering time and space to receive that, from that place, Jesus invites us to broaden our perspective in recognizing that God is alive in every single thing that is around us. And God is alive in everything that's around us in order to offer us living provision and living support for our journey. So you could just take a moment and look around. So I could look at my pen. What is it that my pen is offering me in a quality of support? How is this pen supporting my life? How is my chair supporting my life? My blanket, my cup of coffee. Each of the things that are around me are offering me a very specific quality of support or functionality. And through that, as I allow myself to actually feel it, Jesus invites us to feel through the physicality of the thing and feel into the mystery of God alive and offering us something through that thing. So as you're feeling held by the place that you are seated, what does that quality of support feel like to you? Let's take a moment and we're going to notice that. Let's listen to that and become aware of what God is offering us together. Let's do that together now. then from that place, we want to notice, what does that feel like? Does it feel like a quality of support? Does it feel like a comfort? Does it feel like a sense of relief or renewal? You want to take a moment and notice, what does that support feel like? You can also put it into the chat box if you want, but we're going to write that down into our journal. And then Jesus invites us to write the word living in front of it. Our God is a living God. And there is a finesse inside yourself that you are going to strength train that will allow you to receive God's aliveness so that you are held by God within your own body. And so you want to recognize, what is it that God is providing me right through the place where I'm seated? If it's comfort, if it's stillness, if it's quiet. Take a moment and notice how is that actually alive? And how does my mind and my body, my breathing, how does it respond as I let myself be held in it? Take a moment to notice that. Right, so one of the participants is saying an experience of living gentleness. Mine this morning is living peace. Participants, notice how your word is your word. There's going to be an intimate offering that you personally experience. God is speaking to and providing for each of us so profoundly, intimately. And I know that I'm not speaking with amazing grammar. It doesn't matter. This is about experience. So as you are saying, here is the living gift God is giving me, think about, how do I feel my joints receiving that? How does my jaw receive? For me, I'm experiencing living peace. For one of our participants, they're experiencing living gentleness. Participants who are watching this on the replay, notice what you're feeling. How do you allow your jaw to be held by the chair? How do you allow your shoulders or your brain? How do you actually take that in? We're going to take 2 minutes here and really allow our bodies the time and space for this to be received. This is the most important thing that you are going to receive today. This means more and will do more for you than anything else on this planet in your day. So look at your gift that God is providing you and notice how you receive it. And we can even ask Jesus, show me how to fully receive this in the way that you modeled for us to do. Okay, so now we are receiving God's living support a little bit more. Participants, I invite you to pick a part of your body that feels maybe stressed or overwhelmed or like it's efforting. For me, I can feel it in my lungs and my heart, like I'm efforting because I got up and I did a task that has been challenging me. And so I efforted with my heart and with my chest a little too much when I did that task. Participants, notice where you are maybe a little stressed or efforting in your own body. See if you can find that within yourself. And you're going to write that down. You can share it in the group if you want. You're going to write down that body part. And we're saying, here is where I am working outside of God's support. For me, I look at it like, even though I could hear very clearly, this is what I want you to do this morning, this is what I want you to take care of before you teach the classes, and I hear that, and all of a sudden I go out and I'm efforting, I'm trying to do this thing that is a good thing, but I'm doing it not being held by God, and not allowing the living power that God is providing me to carry me through it. I jump out of God's pocket, that I call it. I jump out of God's pocket and I go and I do this thing to check off this box. And in that, my parts of my body get a little frazzled. Now, before these practices, my entire day was spent in that state, stressed and overwhelmed and rushing and trying to perform and doing it all, even though they were quote unquote good things from the worldly view. All of it was unsupported. All of it was not held consciously and tangibly in my body by God's living love, God's living peace. So participants, you can notice the part of your body. One of the participants is saying her heart and her mind. I imagine it's a girl. I apologize if you're not. This individual can feel it in their heart and in their mind. And so take a moment, participants, and notice the part of your body that is efforting or that is struggling. And put your hand on that. And you're saying, this part of me is overwhelmed because I've been doing it without God. I've been doing it on my own. Take a moment and just hold that, and you're going to name it. And just notice what that's like to just name what we've been doing. Here's where I've been working really hard, unsupported by God. And now that you're connected to that you're holding how you've been doing it, take a moment and notice, what is it that God is providing you in that quality of support? How is God supporting you? And can you feel that quality of support being offered to that body part? Can you slow down enough to allow yourself to be the mediating space between heaven and earth? Heaven is what God is providing you right through the place where you are sitting. Earth is you. It's you in your body. You are the first place where God is going to consciously reach through and support this world. It has to happen in you first. You have to receive it first and be renewed by it first in order for you to be a vessel of outpouring into the world. Can you allow that connection And can you allow that support to happen? Take a moment and notice. And then from that place, Jesus invites us to take a moment and notice, what is the challenge that you are facing in your day today? What is the challenge that you are facing in your day today? You're going to go ahead and write that down in your journal in a short blurb. Let's go ahead and do that together now. So you're going to take a moment and you're going to revisit what it is that God is providing you right through the place where you are seated. Circle that again. You're saying, this is God's living gift to me. This is God's living gift to me. And from that place, you're going to read back through your challenge that you're facing. See if you can in your own way, however you feel this, see if you can allow yourself to be held by God's living gift while also recognizing and feeling the experience of being in the challenge that you are facing. Does that make sense? We're trying to hold the both. Jesus shows me, sorry, the lighting is so crazy here. Jesus shows me that every relationship, everything is, here is my challenge, here is Christ. And I am trying to be the space where they become intertwined, that I am fully allowed to be in my challenge while Christ is fully enveloping me and intertwining with me. See if you can read your challenge back and allow yourself to be intertwined with Christ in your challenge. And again, you're reading back through the challenge that you are facing today, and you're noticing what God is providing you right through the place where you are seated in your quality of support. And what comes up in your mind as you are facing into that challenge? What comes up? What thoughts or imagery do you experience? And then you want to notice, what is it that, excuse me, I sneeze. Then you want to notice, what is it that you, as you are facing this type of challenge, what is it that you're normally saying about this challenge? Maybe when you're talking to other people, or maybe what you're saying to yourself all the time. What is your speech around this challenge? And from that place, then we take a moment and notice, what is your impulse to behave as you face a challenge like this? How do you find yourself engaging with it before you even know it? Are you moving towards it and trying to manage it? Are you kind of paralyzed or collapsing away from it? Do you run away from it into some type of coping mechanism? How is it that you're normally responding as you are facing into this type of challenge? Go ahead and take a moment to become aware of that, and you're going to write that down. And then from that place, you want to notice, what are the emotions or the sensations that come up as you are facing into the challenge that is present for you today. So think about the emotions that come up for you as you are facing into this challenge. Notice where you feel that. Where does that happen for you? And then you want to, again, you want to be that connecting space for how it feels for you to be held in peace, to be held by the support God is providing you. It is not to be overriding it, push it out so that that is the only thing you feel. It is that you can feel, for me today, it's fear and overwhelm, that I can feel that fear and overwhelm being fully held in Christ, and that both are able to be present at the same time. And in that, something new begins to happen in me. I'm not trying to push away what emotions are being evoked. I am developing that internal finesse to allow there to be enough space for everything that is present. So notice, what is your emotion? Where do you feel it? And can you allow it to be intertwined within you in Christ's support? And then from that place, you want to notice, how does your breathing respond? And this one, it's easier for us to notice what happens with our breathing as we read back through the challenge, and just notice what begins to happen. Do you begin to hold your breath, or do you begin to breathe a little faster? Do you breathe shallow? That's another experience. And in the past, as you are facing into a challenge like this, what has happened for you? And then what do you imagine in the future is going to happen as you are facing into this type of challenge? Um, there's going to be an unconscious thing that you're probably thinking is going to happen. That's what you want to be able to write down. It's usually very good and surprising to recognize what it is that you're really responding to inside. And it's probably coming from how it has turned out in the past, or maybe a fear that you had in the past. So it's helpful just to notice it. Sorry to use so many words. And from that place, we are bringing ourselves to Jesus and we're saying, here is what is alive in me. Please show me how to do this in your grace, in your peace. How do you want me to arrive in relationship with this? And we're reading back through what's alive, and I'm reading it to Jesus. I'm saying, here's what's fully alive in me. Let's take our time and connect with Christ in this way. And what insights do you feel being offered to you? What responses? And then as you are being invited um, to step into a little bit of um, new action, fresh ways of relating, again, we're revisiting what is the living support that God is providing me. So you're noticing yourself in that moment or imagining yourself moving towards that moment of connecting. And we're saying, what is it that how do I slow down enough to allow myself to be carried in that moment by God's living grace and whatever it is God's providing you. And from that place, we then are aspiring to just continually be returning to Christ in all things, that I can keep turning back and recognizing where am I supported? What is it that God is providing me? Can I hear that intimate offering being given to me? Can I receive it? And that's the trick, is to actually take time to slow it down and receive it so that I am renewed by it, and then allowing myself to be an outpouring of it into the world. There are so many choice points along that linear spectrum that we keep popping out, and this is just our humanity. And so it's like, that's why these participation classes are so powerful, is that over time and with repetition, you do become conditioned to remain more connected to God. And then your life becomes more complex, and you're able to stand in places you could have never stood before. And then you're continually at this infinite challenge to bring those limited capacities back to Christ, be held in Christ, and moves you forward. Then you're going to have to come back. And so it's this intimate and infinite journey, and it is the most beautiful mystery unfolding that we get to participate in. So I wish you guys a wonderful day. I give great thanks to my living Jesus Christ, who leads me on a narrow path, and yet a path that leads to a living peace that is only alive in this world through each of us. And as we stand together and choose to become vessels of this living peace and grace that is active and is radical and is kind and is welcoming to everyone, we, in that place, meet God's true love for each of us. I thank you all for being here. I look forward to seeing you when it suits your schedule next. Have a great day.